What's up guys? Today I'm doing a follow-up video to my Glock 43X build video. This is that Glock 43X and I'm comparing it to the P365 X Macro that I used to EDC every day. This is actually my buddy's P365. I got rid of mine, but it's the exact same build that I used to have. This is not a stock for stock video, just to get that out the gate. Looking at the P365, this has the Icarus Precision aluminum grip module, which it's a little filed down. Now it has a good, it still bites some, but before it was like, it was not a pleasure to conceal it all. It was very sharp. So yeah, so that's been filed down a little bit. So that's why it looks, a little silvery and black. There's that, and then we've got, the Holosun 507K here. The trigger on this is phenomenal. This has the SIG Armorer's carry, I believe, package. And so this trigger is pretty wild how crisp it is. So here's, just a take up and you get to a wall, like easily getting into that wall, and then you just squeeze and then boom, breaks. Reset is, get my thumb out of the way, right there. Very tactile, very clicky. Break, and then we'll do one more. Reset. So the reset on that is very positive. What's actually pretty cool with that reset, how clicky it is, just for reference, the Mantis X trainer, where you mount it to the rail and then it will register dry fire stability and help you train dry fire. It actually would pick up the trigger reset as a dry fire. That's like how much of a click it is. And then the Glock, it has a Parker Mountain Machine comp and then a Romeo X enclosed optic on it, which is direct mount. This is a MOS, stock MOS slide. And then I've got the grip tape on it, the Talon grip tape, and then a Empire Katana magwell. I had really liked having the flared magwell of the Icarus Precision grip when I carried a P365, but I just liked, so I added on a magwell to kind of emulate that. Yeah, so those are the builds there. And then let's look at the next topic on here that everyone wants to always talk about is the 17 round capacity magazine of the P365 versus the stock 10 round capacity of the Glock 43X. I technically have one more mod on this, the Shield Arms magazine and a Shield Arms magazine catch. I forgot about that. Magazine capacity though, stock Glock is 10 rounds and single stack only, but in my opinion, if you're using this, you're probably just not wanting to mod it. And if you want to just carry a Glock 43X bone stock, I mean, this is an excellent option. I'm not going to dog that at all. Just in my opinion, you're really not losing much going to the Shield Arms magazines. I've run about 1,000 rounds through this with the Shield Arms magazines. I've got, I think, like 4 or 5 Shield Arms mags, and I have not had any issues with it. So now it becomes a game of, okay, do you need 17 rounds or 15? In my opinion, for a concealed carry, like once you're above 10 rounds or close to that, and it's kind of the same thing. Ammo capacity edge typically goes to the X Macro. Honestly, just from an engineering standpoint, I don't know how this is like a very tight magazine. I don't know how they squeeze 2 entire more bullets inside the same magazine. C5 obviously has some different geometry going on inside the gun itself to allow the extra 2 bullets to fit. So pretty impressive. Okay, moving on to concealed carry here, just to make sure these are cleared again. And I also, it's not really a mod, we did replace the extractor on this, and this is I forget what the brand is, but the extractor actually broke on this P365 when we were shooting steel case rounds. So that snapped off. Okay, so conceal carry ability here. So I'll put these holsters back on and then, so first up is the Glock 43X. It does not print much at all. That's the most it's gonna really print. pretty standard. And then the P365, it prints about the same. I mean, it's not significantly different here. They're both about the same width. You know, this is about 25.4, 24 point some 25 even maybe, so marginally wider, I guess. It's very, very, very similar though. Let's now look at the trigger on the Glock. So the Glock trigger is the wall, and then a little bit of squish. I feel like this trigger is pretty good as far as Glocks go. A little bit of squish. I mean, you can see there's a good bit more creep on that than the P365. See, that's kind of like, it's like squishy. But the reason I do not care about the squish on that at all is I actually prefer the Glock trigger from a carry perspective. So let's go ahead and pull these two apart real quick, and I might make a separate video on this. The reason I like the Glock trigger more is the way that this interfaces. You can see this little bar that is moving up here. That's what's actually going to be cocking the striker back. As you pull the trigger, it cocks the striker backwards, and then it releases the striker as well. So basically, a good way to think about this is like for a hammered fired gun, you know, your double action, single action guns, every single Glock pull is like somewhere between a single action and a double action. So the slide reciprocating, going back and forth, it basically half cocks the striker, and then the trigger pull finishes cocking it and then releases it. So if you look here, you know, you'll see that bar, this bar right here, as I pull the trigger, it goes backwards. And so that is literally pulling the striker back. And so that's pulling the striker backwards. And then once it's pulled backwards, then it moves out of the way enough that the striker then releases forward and can, you know, ignite the cartridge. Whereas on the P365, the piece that we're looking at here is right in the middle, that shiny piece of metal. And as you pull the trigger, I'm pulling, and it just, see how it just moves out of the way? It just goes lower, is all that's really happening there. So as I pull the trigger, so there's my wall, and then I'm pulling the trigger and it's going down. What that's doing is that this is your striker right here. That's the striker, and it gets pulled back. So then that little bar just moves out of the way, and then it releases and goes forward. So I know that SIG has obviously all the drama with the P320 and whatnot. I don't think the P365 has that issue, but I will say that is probably the major reason why I stepped away from the X Macro, was just the design of the trigger. Not saying that this is bad, but SIG's bad reputation with the P320, you know, it's like, does the 365 have issues with it? I don't think so necessarily, but Glock is more proven, and, you know, I love that safety feature on it. I don't want to be shooting myself, and, you know, it's, I know this is earth-shattering statements being said right now. But, you know, in my opinion, this is just safer, and it's like, why not? Like, there's not a, you know, oh, like this has 2 more rounds. Well, it seems to be a better chance at not shooting yourself, I guess. Like, every single time you pull the trigger, it's a double action pull. So even if somehow, like, the striker broke through the other safeties in the gun and went forward, it would not have enough power to set off the cartridge. So it is literally impossible for this to misfire unless you are pulling the trigger. So that was the main reason why I picked the Glock over the P365. Okay, so ergonomics on these. Honestly, the P365 Icarus precision module is wild how comfortable this is. I mean, this is far and away nicer than the Glock. I'm not gonna, beat around the bush on that. I mean, the P365 Icarus precision module is hands down one of the most comfortable shooting grips that you can buy. The Glock is not bad, but this is a stock module with just some tape on it. It's definitely just a little more. It's definitely not as comfortable as the Icarus Precision, but that kind of blends into the next thing, which is shootability and recoil control. I actually shoot the Glock 43X better than the X Macro. I think that this Parker Mountain Machine compensator does a better job at managing recoil than the dual ports on the P365. And the reason for that, when this recoils, the entire slider recoils, right? So like that all goes back and gases are venting upwards and the entire slide moves. When the Glock 43X recoils, the Parker Mountain Machine comp stays at the forefront of the gun and creates like a counterweight almost to like keeping that muzzle down. And it's not a huge benefit, but I mean it is, if we're talking leverage and physics and all that bull crap, that's like on the farthest tip of the gun, that's like helping it stay down. So that alongside the larger port size, a single large port, helps mitigate recoil better. Okay, so then optics footprints on both of these, they utilize the Shield RMSC footprint or the Holosun 507K. I don't know if the 507K can direct mount to the 43X MOS. It might be able to, I don't know. I just know that the Romeo X enclosed compact does, and this is a Shield RMSC footprint, but I think it's like a modified footprint. But yeah, so regarding price, the P365 itself is, $700 or $800. The Icarus Precision module is, I think these are pretty pricey. I think they're close to $300. The SIG Armorer trigger job is about $150, I believe. And then I'm just gonna leave it there because the optics, you can kind of build that out, price that out yourself for whatever optics you want. The Glock 43X, on the other hand, is about $500. I think just under $500. And then the Vickers Tactical flat face trigger is $40, and the Shield Arms magazines are about, I think, like $25 each. And then the mag catch is like $20, and the mag well was, I think, $70 or $80. So, and the Parker Mountain Machine comp and barrel is, I believe that's close to $300 as well. So, so all in all, totally built out. These are roughly the same price. And then I would say, I like the Glock 43X more than the P365, just for the trigger safety features alone. But if you were to go stock for stock and you don't have any issues with the SIG trigger, then I think the P365 out edges the Glock 43X just on capacity alone. Stock for stock, remember, this has a compensator built in. It has 17 rounds. This all really boils down to me just not confident in the SIG trigger system. Not saying it's as bad as the P320 at all. It's, this is a great platform and a lot of people use it. And then compare that to the Glock 43X, which has, the Glock safe action trigger and all that. I just like that a little bit more. That's the video, guys. If y'all haven't, give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll keep cranking out videos. If y'all have any guns you'd like to see me take a look at, let me know, and we will call this one a day.